What's up, guys? Happy Friday. I figured it's been a while since we had any fun around here, so today we're going to do something fun. I just finished this one build, and it's kind of a little bit different than what I normally do. Actually, he had me do something that I'd never done before, and hopefully he sends us some videos of what he's going to do with what I did to this. It's a very simple modification. He just wanted a pigtail coming off the trigger outside of the gun so he can wire up some kind of external trigger. Don't really know why, didn't ask. Maybe he'll send us some video of what he's using that for. Anyway, here's the gun. So I must say it does feel nice building Blackbirds again. Something completely within my comfort zone. This one he also wanted to run an external pack, so I put that Dean's connector in there, and that's hooked up to the circuit board. There's also another connector in here, another Dean's connector, to where you don't have to desolder anything to take the gun apart. And this is the little pigtail going to the trigger. Now I've still got to make an auger for this and get it tuned up, but I figured, I don't know if you guys, some of you guys might be familiar with tin art. So I figured once I get this thing up to speed, we're going to do a little tin art with it. Okay guys, we are a little bit closer to making some tin art. I ran into another problem that I have never seen before in my entire life of doing this. I've been doing this for about 8 years. Yep, 8 years now. And the problem was, normally on a DC wire, it'll have either a line or writing on it, and that indicates your positive wire. Well, on this pigtail, the white line does not indicate it's positive. That's actually the negative side. And yeah, I have never seen this before in my life. Ivan! Ivan! So anyway, we've got it feeding now. We're very close to making some tin art. I'm probably going to put the tin art up on eBay, because the last month and a half or so, when I was messing around with free birds and every day was a brand new problem, I wasn't making any money. I am strapped for cash. So you guys sending me these guns for builds, these Blackbirds to build, thank you so much. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere. We're going to do another problem. You guys remember maybe a couple of months ago when I was running into the issue of the valve body, the pocket being too deep, and the BB's not being able to get shot out of it? I'm pretty sure I'm having that same issue with this one. Here's a picture. So you could trim away a little bit at that lip so it would allow the BB to slide under it easier. Those valve bodies are upside down, by the way. But if you do that, what you're doing is you're changing the trajectory of the BB from somewhere down here to somewhere up here. Now, unless you have a latch plate and are able to move set your trajectory, your vertical alignment up and down, your breech is going to stay in the same place. So let's say it comes out right here under my hand, under my fingers, as it is, and it goes into the breech. Well, let's say we trim up a little bit of that lip. Now it's going to be a little bit higher. that's going to cause the BB to hit into the breech. Now there is a landing on that breech, so it's shaped like this, but the more you can avoid having to use that landing, the better off you are. Because over time, with high pressure air, this is what can happen. Okay, this guy wanted a high flow valve in here, so we're going to take the guts out and put them into here first. I'm going to make sure this is the right one that I want to put in there. This is the one I want to put in there. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see that very well, but that looks good to moi. Now, as I was saying, this guy got a high flow valve, so we're going to take that out. Oh, this is the very new style that I've been having problems with. That's why we're having the problem. You can tell the difference because this one has a ridge. They've gotten rid of the cut ridge right there. Anyway, taking his high flow valve out, and I'm putting it in the other one. Now, I explained to somebody not long ago that I don't normally sell parts outside of builds. I have agreements with several sellers to not do that, and in return I get a little bit of a break on parts, and it just works out for everybody, in particular the customer, because the more the merrier. And there is not a lot that goes on in our little community that I don't know about. If a customer doesn't pay for something to someone else, I know about it. Alrighty. Now, when swapping out valves or anything like that, you're more than likely you're going to have a little indentation on the valve stem where they hit BBs coming out. There's no way around it that I've found, and it doesn't cause problems when you have a quality valve. If you don't have a quality valve, what will happen is it'll bend outward and then it'll get stuck in the hole that it rides in. You'll lose all your air. Quality valve will bend inward. But yeah, as far as parts are concerned, I do carry quite a bit, but it's mainly reserved for people who want me to do full builds. So what I'm doing now is I'm just looking in there, and I've got a pair of needle nose pliers, and I'm turning that indentation to the bottom where it would be. So we're not making an indentation somewhere else on the valve stem lip. And I'm going to need a pair of narrower pliers. But that's how you do that. I also went ahead and shortened up his cord while I built it, so it doesn't hang down a lot. A lot of times guys will get these used and it won't run, the magazine won't run, but their little LED on the little red LED on the stock board will light up. A lot of times there's just a little break in the wire right there. And you can find that out by popping it out and doing a continuity test on both sides. Wonder what a continuity test would read on this one, since they got them backwards. Yeah, I can't plan more than about 15 minutes ahead because of my crazy schedule these days. It's ridiculous. Alrighty. And I put this tube in there to keep from mushrooming that. If you just have a stock gun and you go to air, you can put zip ties around here, through there, and around there. I do 3 when I use zip ties. I hardly ever use them anymore with these tubes, but I'm running out of that tube material. Might only have enough left for a few years. All the guts out of that and in here, so do the old switcheroo. And as far as silicone oil, yeah, this is the cheapest stuff I can find. Works good. I think it's a little thicker than your regular old Pell gun oil or whatever. I always like to put it on my O-rings anytime they're exposed. It makes them pretty much last forever. It's new. I think over the years these tubes have expanded, or this hole in the valve bodies has started to contract. There we go. It's pretty nice. I mean, you put it in there. There's actually a little place in here, a little shoulder where it goes to a slightly smaller diameter than the outer diameter of that tube. Just to show you what I was talking about earlier. Whenever you're putting this tube back in, you need to check for roundness on the bottom of it, because if this housing is really cold or something like that, it's not going to have a lot of give in it. When I initially put them in, if I'm up here and it's nice and sunny outside, I'll put this whole part of the magazine on my dash in my truck in the sun with the windows up. It gets nice and hot, and then that tube will just press in there real easy and it won't be squeezed here at the bottom. And you can always just check. Yeah. So some people have said that I sound just like Woody Harrelson. I don't get it. I don't see it, but thank you. Woody Harrelson's a damn sexy man in my opinion. Okay. Art, you say? Yeah, it'll be a fun day at work. It'll be easy peasy. All you gotta do is go in, make an auger, and then you can have at it. Putting these back together, you need to make sure that that is in both holes, or you'll tighten it down. This will be out of usually this side and all dimpled in. Make sure you're not pinching your wires here or right there. You need to have your wire on your motor down kind of like so. Squeeze it together. Push this little button, make sure it runs free. I think the clutch is where it needs to be. So, barring any other extremely rare problems or problems that I've never run into before, I think we'll be good to go on this. But lately, extremely rare problems have been very common. I have one more tip about tightening this screw down. If you get it too tight, that's not going to want to return home. So you just put your screwdriver on it and loosen it up until it pops into place. Sometimes that nut falls out into some other dimension. Some of them never fall out though. So, yeah, dealing with these new valve bodies. Ivan!
Ай, блядь! Ай, блядь! Ай, блядь!
Он так не доедет.
Ай, блядь!
I am not really happy with the way they did that. You know, it's got nothing to do with the top. It's all in the pocket. Alrighty. The gun magazine appears to be working properly as far as firing right now. But now the valve is leaking. Normally, when this happens, it is the front valve seal. So we'll get in there and I'll go ahead and let y'all see it while we're in there. Usually don't have too much problems out of the valve seat. Oh, this was loose. I'll be right back. And that was not the problem. If this is loose, it would have to be really loose to leak. Because of that seal, it would have to be out like that far because the seal around it goes up in there. I was just hoping we'd get a little bit lucky. This isn't really a big problem anyway. Now, if you don't have, the first thing to check for is the front valve seal. And it's behind a washer and it's up in here. You see your washer and seal right there. If you don't have another one, first you want to just inspect it. See if you can see anything. I'm going to go over here in the light and see if I can see anything. Nothing terribly obvious wrong with this one. Sometimes you can get a piece of trash in there. So if you don't have another one, or if you have plenty of time like I apparently do, you can just make sure it's nice and clean. Put it back together. It's not supposed to be magnetic. And a little drop of this in there. You can work it around. And yeah, I made that look easy, but I've done it like a million times. But you want to look through there and line your valve up so it goes through there. And it can be a giant pain in the ass to do and take you an hour or 3. So don't feel bad. All right, now I'm going to go check this out. And when it is still leaking, I will come right back. First, I'm going to align it. So I will show you how to replace that seal in just a minute. All right, I've got it dialed in enough to do this, I believe. Whenever I build one of these, it generally takes, about 1,000 rounds to break the clutch in. You have to have it slip so many times for the little teeth to make their own grooves where they're pretty well stable. So I think I'm almost out of that stage with it. Oh, by the way, yeah, there must have just been some trash on the valve. All right, so we're gonna do some tin art on that piece of tin I dragged out of the woods. I think that 4,000 rounds a minute isn't gonna give me the kind of control that I need, so I'm gonna drop it down to 1,000, and I should be able to do some pretty cool stuff. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna set you guys up maybe on that bucket down there, and pray that I don't destroy my phone. So before I go, I wanted to show you guys something. That was actually done with incredibly low air pressure. I didn't realize it. I thought we were running about 1,000, but I'll show you what we were on. Went to go turn it off, and I've never really run that low. Usually they stop working at 800 psi, and this is showing that we were doing that at 600 psi. Yeah, I was wondering about it because normally we wouldn't have any BBs bouncing off at 1,000 psi or above, but that's the reason why. Later.